Hello, welcome back to the Talk of Fame podcast with your host, Kylie Montini. On this episode of the podcast, we're joined by the amazing Ali Berke, who is a singer-songwriter that has performed at Citi Field, House of Blues, and American Dream Mall. Thank you so much for coming on, Ali. I'm super excited to chat with you today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you on. So, what inspired you to become a singer-songwriter? Because I know you've been doing this a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So it really all started from when I was really little. I would go and sing Elvis karaoke with my dad, and I just found this such niche for music, and I really, really loved it. And I used to watch Hannah Montana, and I'd be like, whoa, it's so cool how she lives a whole normal life, and then she's pop star by night. So I was really inspired by that. And then as I got older, I really fell in love with music, and it just became such a big part of my life.
Like you said, you did Elvis karaoke, right?
Yeah.
Are you an Elvis fan?
So I don't know how to classify that. I mean his music is definitely good. I haven't listened to it in quite some time for sure. But my dad is a huge Elvis fan. So that's where I got kind of the inspiration from.
Yeah, because I was like when she said that, I'm like, oh my God, like Elvis is one of my all-time favorite singers, so I have to ask you
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And since you were from you're not from New York City, right?
So I was born and raised in New York City, and then when I was about 11 years old, I transitioned to Long Island.
Is your family Yankee or Mets fans since your family's from New York type of area?
So me and my dad, I definitely am very influenced by my dad because my dad actually is in the sports world. So
Mm-hmm.
my dad always was a Met fan instead of a Yankee fan. But I don't honestly follow either sport, well not either sport, either team enough in sense of which one I could really say I'm a fan of. But growing up, I've always been to Met games and always been a Met fan per se. So I guess I'd have to classify myself as a Met fan.
That's definitely the way I was raised too. So oh, my family's from Pennsylvania. Of course I have to teams they like since I don't want to be in trouble. You know what I mean? Those type of
Yeah,
things that
for
make
sure.
you feel oh, my family likes them about, so I guess I have to like them as well.
Right, yeah.
But you recently came out with a song called Mistaken Love, which is one of my favorite songs. And was this song impacted by your experience with love, or was it kind of a imaginary type of thing?
So Mistaken Love was definitely based off of a true story. I was really inspired to write it after going through one of my breakups that happened a few years ago. And it was really just you spend so much time with somebody just for them to kind of mess you over in the end. And you just feel like it was all kind of a mistake because you feel like it was a lot of wasted time. But at the end of the day, there really are no regrets in my life. What happened happened, and I don't wish, bad upon anybody. There's no hard feelings, and that's just kind of where the story came from for the song.
Did you write this song a couple years ago, or did you write it a couple right before it went out?
No, I wrote this song maybe a year and a half ago. I've been holding on to it for some time, so I was really excited to finally put it out, but it definitely came together from the inspiration of what happened.
How did you kind of find the courage to kind of write about it? Because I know a lot of people sometimes do not like to kind of express themselves with breakups, especially or any type of relationship. How did you find the courage to do that?
So for me, writing about my experiences, whether it's a heartbreak or a friendship or just everyday life, it's very therapeutic to me. It actually helps me a lot to kind of express the way I'm feeling into a song. So it's really healing for me and impactful for my own life just to kind of write a song about it. And it wound up becoming such a sick song, and I really loved it. And it was kind of a summer vibe, everybody could dance around to it, feel good to it. So I was super excited to release it to let other people kind of hear the story, but also have a good time while listening to it.
And a little bit ago, you put a little bit of your music video of Mistaken Love on Instagram and stuff. Based off the music video, did you really go to the studio after you ended the relationship? Did you really do that?
Yeah, so actually funny story, when it actually first happened, the day after, we were on a break or whatever, I went to the studio and I was hysterical crying. I didn't know what to do with my life. And it basically all comes together like that, where it's I go into the studio and I'm just basically telling my producer like what I'm going through or like what's kind of happening. And I'm just like, hey, like this is what I'm feeling right now. I need to write about it. So the little snippet that I put on my Instagram of like how the song came about was actually based on like how all of my songs usually come about.
Ooh, that's actually crazy. Like I never like heard of you when it's actually like went through a breakup and just literally went to the studio and just recorded. Like that had like to take a lot of that of you though to kind of do it. Like right
Yeah.
after like a break or a breakup, wherever you want to put it. Like that had to be hard for you.
Yeah, it was definitely like a little hard to just like, I didn't want to sing a love song, that's for sure. But it was very therapeutic. And even still, like writing songs about whatever I'm going through is very helpful to me.
Was that like your first love song in type of way, or was it like did you write ones before?
No, I wrote a bunch before. Actually, like so many of my songs are about love, like basically like all of them kind of. And like it's usually always like, Ali, like why are you like writing all these like breakup songs when like now you're in like a happy relationship and like things are great. And I'm just like, it's just my thing. Like it's just the easiest
Mhm.
thing I think to write about. And I know that like everybody at some point, some way has kind of related to a heartbreak. It doesn't even have to be like a romantic heartbreak, it can be anything. So I just feel like it's a very universal kind of topic that a lot of people can relate to.
You're exactly right because like when like people are going through a breakup, they're always like trying to lean into those type of songs because like sometimes they're like, oh, which artist can I go to? Or what song is the best? Like that's why there's some like you, it's just like I yourself is like based off of love and breakups, not just like any other things. It's mostly kind of like main off that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have been writing a lot more songs that are kind of, like in different directions, not all about love. I also did release a song called 19 through 20, which was about like coming of age and like growing up and kind of like that transition from like a kid to an adult. So that's obviously not about love. But I'm trying to like kind of hit all the different avenues about like what I can write about. So it's still like an ongoing journey for me.
And like in 2022, like you lost your mom to cancer, and I like that's actually so terrible, and I'm so sorry about that. And like, how did that experience with losing your mom with cancer like impact you as a person with her cancer journey?
Yeah, so it definitely impacted me a lot. Obviously, like losing somebody as close to you as your mom, it really affects not just, like what you're doing as a career or your craft, it affects your everyday life. So once that kind of all came down, I did take a little bit of a break from my music and I kind of just like took the time to be with my family, be with myself, and kind of just like deal with everything that was kind of going on. But honestly, like if I didn't have my producer that I work with now back home, like kind of push me in order to like kind of get back into everything, I definitely would still be kind of in that place where I was still, like doing things, but like not really. And I was at such a high point before she passed away that it was kind of like a 100 to 0 kind of thing. So it's really hard to kind of get back into that life. And, when I look back at my life before she passed away, I'm like, how did I do those things? Like, how was I able to like go and like go to rehearsal for like 4 hours and drive home 2 hours later and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work and like do all these things? Like, it just seemed like so far off from like where I was now. But I'm slowly like getting back into it. So it definitely has impacted my career. But at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna keep doing this for her because I know that that's what she wants me to do, and that's a very positive way that I can keep looking at my career because I know that she would want this for me and that I'm making her proud.
Mm-hmm. Like with like losing a one loved one is like especially with cancer, it can be so hard. Like my grandma was diagnosed with cancer and like a bunch of my family died and passed away from cancer. And it's like the way my family kind of told me their experience and like the way my family kind of went through it, like it's just like very hard to kind of listen to it. Like for my experience, it's very hard to live through. But at the same time, when you lose a loved one, not necessarily cancer, but in real life or someone, whether it's your parents, sibling, or whatever it is, it's like it's so hard to get through. Like I lost my grandma a couple of years ago, and like I like remember like going through a hard time that I didn't want to do what I was doing every single day. Like that's how much it kind of grief like kind of hits you in that way.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely hits everybody differently, and I always, take into consideration that everybody grieves differently. So like
Mm-hmm.
something that like could really trigger me might not trigger somebody else who also lost their mom, whether it was to cancer or to anything else. So I think it's very important for other people to know that everybody is entitled to whichever way that they grieve or, remember their loved one.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you think like your mom's like journey with cancer has like it kind of impacted or inspired some of your work in some ways?
So the whole journey, I was with her every step of the way. She was actually only diagnosed about 7 months before she passed away. So it wasn't that much of a long journey, which as much as it killed me inside, I'm happy that, she's not going through that anymore and that, she doesn't have cancer anymore and all that stuff. But it definitely has impacted my journey and some of my work because I remember just everything like it was yesterday. And I have a very photographic memory. So I remember everything. I remember what
Yeah.
everything looked like. I remember seeing her, all the different things we did together. So it definitely has impacted my journey and making it a little bit harder in the sense of trying to get through some of those emotions and through some of those things. But it's impacted my work immensely just to keep going and to keep pushing through. And I've been in the studio a lot lately, and some of my new songs have definitely had moments of her behind them.
Mm-hmm. Like with like me as well, like I also have a photographic memory. And like when you like picture yourself with a loved one, it's just like, did that actually happen? Or like it's just sometimes like for me, it's like when I like remember those memories, or I see pictures of it, it's just like it just makes me start sobbing. It's just like it's very hard for like me or maybe anyone to look at those memories, be like, oh my God, I wish I can go back to time and be at that memory, or I wish she was still alive. Like for me, it's just like I'm like, even though she passed away a couple of years ago, and something inside me is still grieving in some way. Like you like
Yeah.
with some people, like you still never get over that grief, even though everyone's different, like you said, just like the grief really doesn't leave you.
Yeah, for sure. But there's always ways that I like to look at it in the sense of there's ways that we can always honor somebody that we lost. And, of course, like we're always going to have those days where we need to just be down and cry about it and just miss them. And we'll miss them every day for the rest of our life. Like there's no doubt about that. But what I've learned is something that kind of helps me is when I do something to honor them, it doesn't make the pain go away, but it also helps you understand kind of that like you are still thinking of them and you
Mhm.
are still doing something for them. So that's something that's been helping me a lot.
Because like if you do something with like honoring them, whether it's like a song or something, it'll kind of help you make you feel better in that terms. Even though
Yeah,
like the grief and love that you have for them will never leave you, it was like whether it's like honoring them or something, like, it will help make you so much better in terms of like making them proud and happy, even though they can't be on earth with us every single day like they were used to, you know.
exactly.
Like how much like do you like write in like record your songs? Do you do a lot, or is it kind of like a once in like every once in a while type of thing?
So I'm in the studio a lot now. So I have been recording and writing probably close to like almost like 8 to 10 hours a week. I go to the studio quite often. I go, anytime that I really can. And it's my safe place and it makes me really happy. And, I'm putting together as many songs as I can so I can start putting them out because, like at the end of the day, I am very protective over my songs in the sense of
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't know if I want to release it. Like, not because I don't like the song, but because it's like your baby. It's like a child that like
Yeah.
you created. So it's very nerve-wracking when you put a song out because you never know how people are gonna react. But thankfully, I've had a really good response from like a bunch of my songs that I've released, so I'm excited to start releasing more.
Like I'm so excited to hear them. Like with all your hard work, like with some people it's like very hard to kind of like release them because like, oh, like how are people gonna think about this? Are they gonna like it? Are they gonna hate it? Like sometimes like you just let yourself down get to you even though you shouldn't. Like that's like a big problem for me. Is like, oh, I can't do this, but then like you're like, why not just release it? If people hate it, they can hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always look at it like if you watch my music video or stream my song and you hate it, that's fine. That's your opinion, but you still gave me the view and you still gave me the stream. So at the end of the day, like it's still working towards my goal because at the end of the day, like no matter what you do, whether you're in the music industry, an actress, or even just an everyday like job, you could be a waitress, anything. There's always going to be somebody out there that doesn't like you, whether
Hmm.
because of jealousy or because they just don't like the style of music you do or anything like that. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion at the end of the day. So I always feel like if you don't like it, that's fine. Just keep it moving and no hard feelings, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you're like I couldn't agree more with that. Like how do you like you have done some covers on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, music covers and like what like type of songs do you usually cover? Like type of like posts on Instagram, social media?
So I usually like to do things that are like trending right now. What I did just recently, I posted it yesterday. Well, when this gets posted, it'll be a few days ago. Um, but I did something for the new Lauren Spencer Smith song. Her new song is going to be called That Part. And she's been teasing like a bunch of her verse and things like that, but she hasn't teased the chorus yet. So something that I thought would be really cool was I was like, hey, like, maybe this is what the chorus is going to sound like. And I wrote a chorus around her verse in her song. So I put that out, and a lot of people seem to gravitate toward it and really liked it. So I might be doing some more of that content. And then when it comes to like YouTube or just Instagram Reels in general, I usually just do like whatever's kind of trending, definitely sticking in like the pop world, but also like making each song my own and unique.
Like with Lauren, like she's this amazing artist, and like with her music, it's just like I feel like everyone like relates to it. I feel like I just like
Yeah.
she's very popular and so young. Like even though she's so young, it's just like seeing someone her age kind of like gravitate towards music is
Yeah.
so amazing. Like with your cover, like that really shows that like people are really liking her music.
Yeah, for sure. She's awesome. She's a really great artist.
Like what are some like goals and aspirations like you set yourself as a songwriter?
Definitely to just make my next song better than the last one. I think as a songwriter and as an artist in general, we're such creative people. So it's really easy to kind of like get off track into rather going into one simple direction. So no matter what I'm doing and no matter how creative I'm being with it, I always want to make sure that the next song that I'm doing, I can say was better than my last one. And it's not to like put them in like a category to be like, oh, well, that song isn't good anymore. But it's just to show like as an artist, I'm continuing to grow my catalog as well as
Mhm.
improve as a songwriter every single day.
Like with being a songwriter, like or whatever in entertainment, like you always want to make something better than the last thing you did. Even
Yeah.
though you're like, oh, that thing was horrible, this project I did was horrible, like even though it might be horrible, that like in your perspective, like you always have a goal to basically make that thing better than anything else. Like sometimes like my model is like, I hope I did this interview better than last interview. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
For
you
sure.
always want to like grow as a person, whether it's like your work or as yourself. Like whether you be like, oh, I was horrible to myself yesterday. How can I make myself better? I hope I'm better to myself yesterday. That was well today
Exactly.
than
Yeah.
yesterday. But like you have released a lot of songs over the years. Like, do you have like a personal favorite that you released or unreleased and why?
Hmm.
I know
That's a
that might
good
be a hard song.
question. And it's a hard question.
Yeah.
Hmm. I love all the songs I've released. They each have like a little different place in my heart. I think as of right now, I have to say that the release that I've been the most proud of was definitely when I released my Christmas song. It's called My
Ooh.
Christmas Wish. And that song was about my mom. Basically, Christmas was her favorite holiday. So getting through Christmas time this year was super hard. But I wrote the song in honor of her, basically just saying that my only Christmas wish was to have her back on Earth with me. Obviously, we all know that can't happen, but it was just a way that I was feeling, and I wanted to put it out through a song. And I wound up putting it out, and a lot of people did really like it, and people still stream it like today. And I'm like, wow, Christmas was like 4 months ago. People are still loving it. So I really, really appreciate that. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself that I got to get through that and I put it out because, a lot of people can relate to it, even if it's not about losing a loved one, even if it's out like going through a breakup or losing a pet or anything like that, like there's always something or someone you wish that you can have on, I'm sure, on holidays or just any day. So I was
Hmm.
happy to kind of do that.
Yeah, I love that. Like every like holiday, whether it's like Christmas, Halloween, or something, like everyone wished someone was there to be with them, Like it's just like whether they're still alive or they passed away, like it's just like, oh, I wish I had this person today. Like with my grandmother, like when I lost a couple years ago, she used to have the biggest Polish holiday you ever see. My
Yeah.
family is very Polish, so it's like every year we'll have this holiday fiesta type of thing. And like since she passed away, I'm like, oh, I just wish she was here this year, but it's not possible. But it's like with those like type of songs, like you said, the Christmas song that you wrote that came out a couple months ago, it's just like when people hear those type of music, it just makes them feel less alone. Like when I heard that, like what you said, I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not alone, feel like that. Like
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
just like when people hear those type of songs, you're like, at least I'm not alone, like in this journey. Like I lost a loved one a couple months ago, and you're like, I wish someone could feel the same way as me. I'm grieving, like how could I feel that way? But that's like the best part about being kind of like a songwriter or whatever you like kind of you pursue is that like you connect with people with your story because people might be going through the same thing and might feel alone.
Yeah, of course.
But like, do you have any like upcoming songs or projects that we should know about that you're coming out with soon?
Yes, so the biggest upcoming project that I have right now, I'm releasing a music video for Mistaken Love.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really, really excited for you all to see that. It should be coming out within the next like I'm gonna say few weeks. Just because I don't want to like say that it's so far away, but it's not like tomorrow either. But it's really soon. So make sure to everybody stay out on the lookout for that because I'm really excited. It's a different kind of music video for me, and it kind of like reenacts what happened in my breakup. So it's a
Ooh,
little spicy. Yeah.
crazy. Now you gotta be so excited about this now. I'm
No,
like, oh, I gotta
thanks.
wait till
Yeah,
the
I'm
see right
excited for you
now.
to
But
see it.
I can't wait to see. I probably gonna be like the first Zoo, honestly. I probably
Oh
am.
my gosh, yeah, then you have to let me know what you think.
I'll definitely let you know. I'm probably gonna be obsessed. Most likely knowing me. But like the last thing I had to ask you was like, what is some advice for upcoming singer-songwriters or just starting out?
So the best advice that I could give us upcoming singer-songwriters is just never give up. Don't let anybody kill your dream, no matter what anybody says. If it's something that you love and something you're passionate about, don't let anybody stop you. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you no. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you that you're not good enough. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you you are good enough, but you're not going to get anywhere with them. So at the end of the day, everybody's journey is their own, but just keep doing your thing, keep posting, keep knocking on every door that you can, and just try your best to never give up, and you'll get where you want to be.
That's some good advice. Thank you so much, Ali, for coming on the podcast. You're amazing and so inspiring. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on the podcast. I know you're probably very busy, so I really appreciate you coming on and you're amazing. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Of course, thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great rest of your day, Ali. Thank you so much.
You too.
Bye.